Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Al-Ansar.
There's a shooting star. Do you ever wonder who created this and who created that? Allah created everything. What about that tree, so beautiful and green? Can you see the wind brushing those leaves? Look at that fish swimming away in a beautiful...
Hey, it's Green Thumbs Up Day here at Radio Al-Ansar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, Tumelang, Saubona Sani Bonani, and all those other things.
Wait, I want to say something.
Brother Zachariah is in studio. He wants to say something. Say something, brother.
Asindile uli. That's something I learned.
What's that?
Asindile uli.
Asindile what?
Asindile
uli.
uli.
Asindili uli. Asindili uli.
Asindile.
Asindile uli. Hello, Asindile uli, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to Green Thumbs Up with that gardening and natural living show. You didn't know you needed. And I promise you today, whether or not you listen to gardening or natural living today, you need to be here. As you've heard, Brother Zachariah Omar is in studio with me this morning. That is because our usual Brother Sibonisam Kize, unfortunately, is feeling unwell. So we make dua that he is granted shifa with afia, inshallah, and that he is very quick spot, all well and done and good and ready for our show. So, Brother Sibonisi, if you're listening, I shame peace, man. I hope you feel better soon. Nah. So you know our WhatsApp number, 060-904-1056. We're at 90.4 FM in Durban, 105.6 in Pietermaritzburg. But remember, we audio stream all over the world. How wonderful is that, darling dearest? Absolutely spiffing. Yes, and it is Sunday. You know, Sunday is that Green Thumbs Up Day, and we're going to have a really superb show. So gather in, bring in all the little ones, bring in everybody, because today we have a very, very special guest on show. And I want to say thank you to Sister Kelly Ramzani. Yes, Kelly has been standing in as a producer. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but it is what it is, darlings. And she's been very kind to locate this guest for us. And I'm super grateful because, folks, you know, there are certain people in this world who are experts at certain things. And we are gardening and we are natural living. Now, what happens when you're out in the garden sometimes? You get bitten by all sorts of things, right? There are all sorts of things that can sting you, bite you, etc. And today we have on the show someone who is an expert on that. Before I do that, you know, we always do the weather, whether we like it, whether or not the weather is a thing for us gardeners and natural loving enthusiasts. So, Joburg, you've got Sunday today is 24 degrees. Thursday and Friday is your highest heat days at 28. Keep those plants away from the sun if you do not want them scorched. We are going through a heat wave. Durban, folks, the heat wave is real. 29 to 29 to 31 degrees everywhere. Everywhere, Zach. Can you even? All over KwaZulu-Natal, Devon. And Thursday, we expect a few little showers, which, of course, is going to give us mosquitoes. And later in the show, I'm going to talk to you about mosquitoes and what to do to possibly boom shakalaka get them out of your life. And then we have got Cape Town with a balmy 23 to 26 degrees for most of the week. Now, we expect to hear from all our dear listeners, as you always do. I'm watching the lines, 060-904-1056. And I know that you're going to send us a little bit of love because Jonathan Leeming is already waiting on the lines. And who is Jonathan Leeming? Jonathan is on a mission, folks. He's on a mission to reduce the burden of spider bites and scorpion stings across South Africa at all levels of society. Now, he's not just doing it out of the goodness of his heart, nah. He knows his stuff. Jonathan is South Africa's leading authority on spider bites and scorpion stings, first response. So he's going to give us information that we need to know. He's a best-selling author. He's an international speaker and an award-winning conservationist. Okay, this is where we drop the mic and say, You see, we needed him on the show because he consults for poison information helplines, medical organizations, and even academic institutions. He's a regular speaker at medical conferences, He's a member of the National Snake Bites Advisory Group, and his work has inspired a generation and shaped the understanding of spider and scorpion stings right across South Africa. Now, you know, Zach, if I get bitten by a spider, I tend to swell up. So maybe Jonathan can figure out why that is. I'm sure he's going to give us lots and lots of information. So good morning, Jonathan, and welcome to the show. It's good to have you here. Thank you for making the time.
That's absolute pleasure. And with weather like that you're experiencing, we should be at the beach.
Oh, yeah, well, we should be at the beach, but, you know, some of us have got to entertain the population and we love doing it. So here we are. Jonathan, we're going to be speaking a little bit about spiders in general. We're going to be talking about spiders in the garden and medically important spiders and then some of the values and the beliefs. Now, I told you when we were speaking on the phone that I had these beautiful golden orb weavers in the garden a while back. And sometimes they still come back. But people are scared of spiders typically, aren't they?
Oh, yes, they are. I think if people don't know something about something, then they expect the worst. I think that's what happens. People often jump on the internet as well, and there's a lot of clickbait on the internet. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. And I think that's where it comes from. It's also learned in families, I believe. So if you've got parents that are afraid of spiders, they're more likely to have children that are also afraid of spiders. But yeah, it's a very common kind of misperception that we should be afraid of spiders, when knowledge really gives you power. And when you understand a little bit more, you realize the value that they offer in the world.
It's interesting you say that because spiders for gardeners are actually something we should have, and yet people are so quick to kill them because spiders eat all sorts of critters, don't they?
Yeah, spiders they provide what we call ecosystem services. So a great degree of pest control. If you leave that spider web in your house, for instance, like a daddy long legs or something like that, it's going to eat the mosquitoes that bother you at night. And I think it's a really good example of, people often ask me, what's the value of a spider? And that's a great question. What people are really asking me is, what's the value of a spider from someone else's perspective? I understand what that is. So we need to bring the value back to something which is really beneficial, to people. And I think, eating mosquitoes at night is a fantastic thing. So we need more spiders in your bedroom.
That's amazing. They eat mosquitoes at night. And at this point in time in Durban, I don't know, our listeners may feel the same way, but there are a lot of mosquitoes everywhere. We're going to be talking about that at the end of the show if there's time. Tell us a little bit more about your journey in getting to know spiders and some interesting information that we may not know about spiders, please.
Okay, so I was born to an outdoor family. Hiking, climbing, sailing was all part of the holidays. We never stayed in a hotel. I think the first hotel I was in was probably when I came to South Africa in 1984. So I was really like an outdoor child. And I was very fortunate to have parents that taught me, the value of every aspect of the world. I grew up in the UK. When I moved to South Africa in 1984, spiders were bigger, they were hairier, they were more venomous. There was lots of them. And I got involved with what's called the Spider Club of South Africa when I was young. And it just kind of really grew from there. When your understanding kind of grows about a subject, people ask you to get involved, with that subject. I learned more about scorpions than probably most people at that stage when I was very young. I mean, at school still. I was asked to write an educational booklet, which I did because I'm a very enthusiastic person. The booklet got a bit way out of hand, and it was a bit more than that. Phoned one of my spider friends and said, "Hey, I've got this manuscript. What do you do?" Because they had published a book, and they said, "Phone Strike, ask them what they think." It was on scorpions, so I phoned Strike and said, "Hey, I got this idea for a book." They said, "Email the manuscript," and then they said yes. And then about 3 years later, Scorpions of Southern Africa came out. And I think that when you publish a book on any subject, if people want to know more about that subject, they speak to the people that write the books. And this is when the whole kind of world opened out to me. But I'd always been fascinated in spiders equally, but there's lots of people that do spider books. And we're very lucky to have some amazing spider books in South Africa.
I thought you were going to say we're very lucky to have some amazing spiders in South Africa. And I was going to say, oh, I don't know if we're very lucky, but I suppose we are. It's a mind shift, isn't it? That we tend to think that human beings are the superior species.
Yeah, I think, spiders and snakes and scorpions are what I call the undesirables, which is, and I do a lot of speaking about undesirables. People's perceptions of these animals is not that great. It's almost like, the world would be better if we didn't have these creatures. But, every single animal adds value in the world. When people say to me, what's the value of a spider? It's difficult to really answer that, from another person's perspective. We know the value of a tree, even if people say you can make furniture out of a tree and you can make a fire out of a tree. We know the value of, let's say, honeybees. They are the rock stars of the pollination world, even though there's plenty of other creatures which are equally or maybe even more important when it comes to pollination. What's the value of a human being? All I say there is some questions are a little bit more difficult to answer, but they do add value in the world. The sheer fact that they exist means that they add value in the world. Whether we understand what that value is a completely different, question. But without spiders, scorpions, and snakes, ecosystems, would be degraded, and we wouldn't be able to live the lives we live at the moment. So, yeah, important in an indirect way.
And so, tell us about some interesting aspects of spiders. After talking to you in preparation for the show, I went and looked online, and I found a spider called a six-eyed sand spider, and apparently that lives in South Africa. It's 6 eyes, so that's odd. Any other odd or interesting facts about spiders you could share with us?
Yeah, so we've got about 2,300 named species of spider in South Africa. Spiders occur everywhere. They're in the garden, they're in your home, they're in national parks, they're all over the place. There's 2 aspects of spiders that have really captured the imagination of the people that create biotechnology. One of them is their venom. There's a lot of great things coming out of venom. And a good example are violent spiders. People that are bitten by violent spiders get a nasty lesion sometimes. Okay, so there's tissue destruction. But imagine if you can take that toxin which is responsible for that tissue destruction and reprogram it to only work on cancer cells. And it sounds like science fiction. You could inject that into a patient, and these toxins migrate to specific cancer cell tissue, and they destroy that tissue. I mean, how awesome would that be? And there's a lot of investigation when it comes into venoms. Scorpions the same. There's a whole treasure trove of biotechnology coming out of snakes, spiders, and scorpions. And they're going to end up in our pharmaceutical kind of cabinets inside the pharmacy under these funny brand names. And there's already medication out there which is kind of really derived, from the venom of snakes. Silk is the other thing. We've been trying to replicate silk for many years. We haven't managed to form the strands. There's bioengineered goats that produce spider silk proteins in their udders. So we can produce the actual silk proteins, but to align them into a thread is a complete mystery to us. And I think if we can solve that, it will change the world of biotechnology. Spider silk is antibacterial. It's hygroscopic, which means it kind of attracts moisture out of the air. It can stretch 300% its own kind of length before breaking, stronger than steel at the same diameter. So it really is a raw material that if we can get it right, it will change the face of humanity forever. Not like AI, which is all promises, but I mean authentically change the face of humanity.
So what would you say to people who say to you, well, that's all very well and good. I'm glad that there's all of this stuff, but, spiders in my house, no. How do we coexist with them? What do you do if you find a spider at home? Because people's first idea is squish, and it's not necessarily the best idea. What would you?
That's right. I think it's terrible that an animal has to die because of someone's ignorance, and that's kind of really what we're talking about. We're all ignorant about something. When my car breaks, I don't know how to fix cars, so I take my car to someone who can fix it for me, and I call that honest ignorance. But then there's also dishonest ignorance, where we know we don't know something about something, yet we still kind of force that kind of value and belief. Spiders are not a legitimate health threat. A lot of people think they've been bitten by spiders, but here's a quick tip. How can you tell if it's a spider bite or not? And this is how you can tell. If you watch the spider bite you, then it's a spider bite. If you didn't see the spider bite you, you've got to ask, is it a spider bite at all? And I know spider bite misdiagnosis is rife. It's very common, not just in the general public, but also in medical professionals. There's a lot of people that think they've been bitten by spiders when there's no evidence the spider is involved. So if we can get over that perception that spiders are a legitimate health threat, when in reality they're not, when you look at the medical research, I think that will help. Also, when we base our values and beliefs on something we don't know, like if we don't know what kind of spider that is, then what do we think? We normally think the worst. We think it's going to bite you. If it's got that red marking underneath, it must be a black button spider. Spoiler alert, our black button spiders never have that red hourglass marking. But if we jump to conclusions, if we fill the gaps in our understanding with what we don't know, what's interesting is when we go onto the internet, and I'm an old person, so I still use Google, right? So when you Google spider bite information or spider bite first aid, the first page contains 10 results. Now, the 10 results are not all the same, are they? They're completely different. So the question is, which result will you click on? And it's not the most correct one. Most people say it is the result right at the top. Okay, but that's the result that's probably sponsored by someone. So people's paid money to have it right at the top. So they've got a dog in the race. The answer to which one do you click on is the one that aligns to your values and beliefs the most. So if you're afraid of spiders, you're going to click on that clickbait, search result. If you love spiders, you will click on the result, which is a little bit more beneficial. And I think a lot of people get their understanding from the internet nowadays, which is a dangerous place to understand the world. So I think it's really about, knowledge is power. If you're afraid of something, learn more about it, and then you won't be so afraid. You won't be susceptible to misinformation and hoaxes, like I've been bitten by a violent spider, which is one of those things which enters my inbox 10 times a day. So it really is knowledge and understanding. That's what it is, and all of our life is like that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. It's true what you say. It is about knowledge and understanding. And as you were talking, I was remembering that certainly in Islam, Zachariah, isn't there a whole verse in the Quran about the spider?
Yeah.
I know there's a story about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being in the cave, and the spider built this web overnight to protect him. And so, I would say to you folks out there, if you are Muslim, and this is a Muslim Ethos radio station, although we have many listeners that are not Muslim, if nothing else, for the sake of that story, don't kill the spider. Move them. And you can take them and, put them in a container and drive off and just leave them somewhere. Like, what would you suggest? How do we capture them and relocate them safely when we don't know what the spider is, Jonathan?
Okay, so normally spiders are easy to capture. If you get a jar or something and a piece of paper, and you can trap the spider in the piece of paper. If you've got a neighbor you don't like, you can always throw it over the next door neighbor's wall. But I think it's much better if you can take it to some kind of nature reserve. However, think about this. That spider is in your house because it's a nice place to stay. It's like this kind of empty kind of space for the spider. So if you take the spider out of that space, it actually frees up that space for another spider to move in. So you're not actually kind of winning the war. It's like ants. We'll never win the war against ants. You can put as much poison as you want in your kitchen. You're never going to win. Cockroaches are the same. So once again, it really comes back to tolerance and understanding spiders a little bit better. You know, there's lots of challenges in the world today. We need to understand the world in an authentic way. And I think if I can teach people just a little bit, not to kiss and cuddle spiders, but just that they add value in the world, I think that's moving towards a better world in lots of different ways and for everyone.
So, I did do that paper. I found paper was flimsy, so I took a little bit of a thicker kind of a cardboard that I keep at home, and it's just, you know, it's the back of those examination pads. That little bit of cardboard, I keep that for spider rehoming, and I don't rehome it off the property. In my case, I do rehome it into the back, into the forest, but there's a forest that backs up to my house. But here's what I do for those of you who think, what do I do with a piece of paper and the thing? How do I wangle the paper on the spider onto the paper? And then, no, you don't do that. It's easy. You take that tub. Listen, if all else fails, get a see-through salad bowl, you know, those glass ones, and just put it over the spider, so the spider's not hurt. It's inside the thing, and then you shimmy, wiggle, waggle, slide that little piece of paper or cardboard under it, and then you can tip it over once the spider's on the paper, and the thing is trapped inside that container. And then I ran at the speed of lightning to the back, because this was a rain spider, and I'd never seen one, and massive. And I was like, what the nonsense is this on my kitchen counter? We have a message that has come in from one of our listeners. Says, Salam, Sister Rabia. On a lighter note, does Jonathan know a real Spider-Man? Actually, Jonathan probably is the real Spider-Man, because he knows about spiders.
So if you can be bitten by a spider and turn into Spider-Man, I would be Spider-Man, Scorpion Sting, Snake Man, Leg of Wad Man, lots of different superheroes all rolled into one. You know, if we go back to the question about capturing a spider, if you're one of those people, okay, so there's two different kind of reactions to spiders, which are kind of negative. One is that people don't like spiders, okay, which is kind of a very mild, let's say, kind of emotion towards them. But there's some people that are afraid to go into a room because there might be a spider there. And I think that if your fear of spiders impacts your life, that stresses you out, gives you anxiety, makes you fearful of walking into a room just because there's a spider, I think it's time to get some psychological help. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I think your life will be a lot better if you're not so anxious. There's lots of things in the world to be anxious about. The rand dollar, the price of petrol, have you got electricity, you know, the next hurricane to hit Durban or whatever. Spiders shouldn't be one of those things.
So you said, you know, often when you have a bite, people think it's a spider bite. How do we know if it is a spider bite?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. All right, so let's say I talk to a large audience of 5,000 people. When I ask the audience who's been bitten by a spider, normally about 3,000 people put their hand up. But when you ask the audience, okay, who watched the spider bite them, you're lucky to get one or two people. And when you ask those people, okay, what were you doing to the spider to make it bite you? There's normally some kind of a legitimate answer. But I think the big question is, why do the other 2,997 people think they've been bitten by a spider when they didn't see the spider, or there's even no evidence the spider is involved? And to be bitten by a spider, or to really be bitten, you've got to watch the spider bite you, which I know it doesn't always happen. So when you ask those people, what makes you think you've been bitten by a spider when there's no evidence the spider is involved, there's normally one of 4 different answers. The first one is it looks like a spider bite. And I've been working with medical organizations on spiders and spider bites for the past 20 years. And I can tell you spider bite symptoms can look very different according to the patient and a whole lot of other factors. So when people tell me it looks like a spider bite, to me, that isn't a legitimate reason to think you've been bitten by a spider. The other thing they say is, well, what else can it be? and I can give you a list of 100 things that can cause spider bite-like symptoms. The third thing is I Googled it, which is never a good reason to believe anything as far as I'm concerned. And the other one is that, someone of authority says it's a spider bite. And to be honest, when people send me pictures of various parts of their anatomy, there seems to be no shame when it comes to spider bites. It can be very difficult to work out if those symptoms are spider bite related or not. You have to dig a little bit deeper. The good news is that it doesn't matter what has caused the lesions, all right? The medical treatment is the same. It's all about wound care. It's all about trying to kind of reduce the chance or reduce the load of bacterial infections. And this is what we need to focus on. But if you've got any lesion, don't try and work out exactly what the cause is. Treat the symptoms and you'll be all right.
Okay, great. So if you don't know what's bit you, treat the symptoms because it's not necessarily a spider. And Brother Frank Hay, who always sends us a joke, has sent us a comment and he says, "Salams to all. I suggest you speak to the spider. He says, I suggest you speak to the spider. Knock, knock, who's there? Amos. Amos who? A mosquito. So maybe a mosquito bit you and you think it's a spider because you're somehow allergic to the venom, and that could, the venom, it could definitely be. Faiza said to us, "Salam, Sister Rabia, spiders. Wow, I revere spiders for concealing the entrance to the cave of Hira, where our Prophet ﷺ took refuge from the kuffar who were attempting to kill him, subhanallah." So yes, took refuge. That is the story that I was trying to tell, which I obviously didn't get right, but I appreciate you correcting me. Absolutely. I love that. So it was the entrance to the cave of Hira, where he took refuge from the kuffar. That's the story. That's what it was. And then speak to us a little bit then in terms of the values and beliefs. We've touched on it slightly, the values and beliefs. You've just mentioned how important it is. But is there a message that you could give our listeners out there in Radio Land and TikTok Land and Facebook Land and YouTube Land on spiders particularly?
Yeah, there's a few very common misperceptions or old wives' tales out there. The first one, I think, is that black button spiders have a red hourglass marking underneath the abdomen. Our ones don't. It's the American black widow does, and the Australian redback has that hourglass marking, but ours don't. It's the brown button spider that does it. It's about 3 to 4 times less venomous. Other things are like, the daddy longlegs is the most venomous spider in the world, but they can't bite you because their fangs are too small. That's also one of those old wives' tales. It just does the rounds and everyone seems to know that. I've been bitten by a spider when there's no evidence a spider is involved. Super common, very, very common. So there's lots and lots of things out there. Yeah, which we just kind of take for granted. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. I think there's a big, beautiful world out there, all right? And we need to understand it a lot better than we understand it at the moment. It's the only way that we're going to conserve the world and we're going to protect the things. Remember, every creature adds value to the environment, and they add value that support the systems that give us life. They provide, they kind of make the environment flow. And I think spiders and scorpions and also snakes are part and parcel of that kaleidoscope of the environment. We shouldn't be afraid of anything in the natural world. We should learn, we should have curiosity, and we should just kind of revel in the wonder of the environment. I mean, that's what it's there for. And if we miss out on that opportunity to be inspired by the world around us, I don't know. I don't think we'll live a very meaningful life.
I just love what you've said right now, and I think it's so important. There are people that I have met in my work as a life coach and business coach that are terrified, for instance, of cats. And I will say to them, "Why are you so scared of cats?" One lady nearly climbed up my curtain because my Sphinxie walked into the room. And she was terrified, like literally holding on to the curtain. And I said, "Why are you so scared? Have you ever been attacked by a cat?" "No, because my mother was scared." I'm like, fear is not hereditary. It is not in your DNA. It is something that we can overcome. And fear is something that gets taught. And the whole idea of the show is to teach that we are part of the bigger picture of what nature is. So I absolutely love what you said. Question here from Narani. She says, Salam, Sister Rabia. Thanks for your great, amazing hints regarding spiders. What must we apply if bitten by spiders? Thanks so much. And this is from Roshni in Pietermaritzburg. She wants to know, what do we do if we are, and as you've said, it might not be a spider, but let's say, for interest's sake, that really fast spider, you saw it, it bitted you. What do we do now?
That's an awesome question. Okay. There's a tube. If you go to Discam, you can get a tube of antibacterial cream. That's all that you need. So if you've got a lesion, you're not sure it's a spider bite or you're sure it's a spider bite, keep that bite site clean and sterile. And the chances of having any kind of complication is greatly reduced. However, we live in a world where 2 out of 3 people will die from lifestyle-related diseases. So we've got things like we have diabetes, we've got autoimmune diseases. They're very, very common. So if you're one of those individuals with an impaired immune system because of some lifestyle-related disease, then it's important to nip these things in the bud when they're small. So if you have a lesion and you're not sure, and you've got a history of having problems with bacterial infections, then go and see your doctor and you'll probably get a course of antibiotics. Remember, antibiotics don't treat the action of a spider's venom. They treat bacterial infections. So if you get a spider bite and you go to the doctor and you get antibacterials, it's not going to have any effect on the spider's venom. If it does help the symptoms, reduce the symptoms, then it's obviously bacterial related. Out of 2,300 spiders, we've got about 19 species that are medically important. That's the button spiders, the sac spider, the six-eyed desert crab spider, as you pointed out at the beginning, and the violent spiders. Out of those 4 groups, it's only the button spiders which are considered a medical emergency. And you'll know that there's something wrong. The symptoms are they're immediate and they're rather dramatic. So if you're concerned, go see a doctor. Try to not go on the internet and search for any advice, because there's a lot of clickbait information out there. You'll go to your doctor, he will take you as the patient into consideration, and if you've got lifestyle-related diseases, and he'll prescribe an effective treatment.
So let's talk about this and be realistic for people, because what one considers dramatic is not what another person considers dramatic. Some people may say, oh, it is swollen and now I can't close my fingers properly. Is that dramatic? Or do you start to see flesh melting? Is that dramatic? Because dramatic is how long is a piece of string. Depends. And we've got a lot of drama queens and kings out there. What are we looking for to realize that, okay, just plain swelling is not enough? What are we looking for that we know this needs medical attention?
Okay. If you're concerned about the symptoms in whatever way whatsoever, then go to a doctor. Okay. So a lot of the spider bites which people experience will be lesion-based, so you can physically see the symptoms. There's swelling, there's all kind of pus that comes out. If you get systemic symptoms, if you get aching joints, any kind of flu-like symptoms, go see a doctor. Okay. If you're concerned about the symptoms in any form whatsoever, go see a doctor, go see a pharmacist. Okay. If it's a black button spider bite, which is the only real medical emergency, which is spider related within South Africa, it's like being stung by a wasp. So there's that immediate localized pain, and people look down and they see the spider. So we've got that good link. But even if it's not a spider bite, let's just talk lesions in general. If it swells up, pus starts coming out, you're concerned, go see a doctor. You're going to probably need antibiotics, and you'll only get that over prescription. Okay, so yeah, if there's pus coming out, if there's lots of swelling, if you've got a history of autoimmune diseases, if you battle with bacterial infections, then go as soon as possible, because that's really going to speed up the recovery.
Perfect. Thank you for that. It has been absolutely wonderful having you on the show with us here this morning. And I just wanted to read you something that I came across, and I pieced this together from different places, and I thought it's just too beautiful. So for all of our listeners out there, this is about spiders, and it says, I asked the spider for life advice, and it said, build something beautiful, catch what you need, and don't get stuck in drama. Then I asked how it stays calm in chaos, and it said, I focus on my web, not on the fly's opinions. I asked what success looks like, and it said, build quietly, be patient, let what's meant for you come to you. And I asked the spider how to deal with annoying people. It said, I don't chase, I wait. I asked about self-care, and the spider said, rest upside down when you need to and rebuild when things fall apart. So I asked about boundaries, and the spider said, everything I allow into my life comes through my web. I only allow what I want or need. I asked how it gardens without chemicals, and it smiled and said, I let nature do the work. And I asked how it built such a strong web, and the spider said, one thread at a time. I asked then, how does it turn its gifts into a livelihood? And it said, I didn't wait to feel ready. I just started weaving. And so I asked, what separates dreamers from builders? And the spider told me, dreamers admire the web, builders make it. And I absolutely loved that. So I hope you enjoyed that too, Jonathan. Thank you so much for being with us. I want you to give us some information, please. So, your website, www.scorpions.co.za. That'll give us a lot of information. I've seen you've got loads of freebies on there. You've got workshops coming up, and there's links to your book. But give us some more information where people and how people can reach you.
Okay, so if you go to scorpions.co.za, as you say, there's a lot of free stuff. There's an online course. It's on scorpion sting first response. If you have a look at the top left corner, you'll see a little spider icon. If you click on that, you'll get information about spiders, but particularly spider bites. I do a lot of events around Southern Africa. So if you go to scorpions.co.za/events, you'll find details of the books that I have as well. There's a new book on scorpion sting first response. The spider one is on its way out. Just to give me a bit of time. As I say, there's a lot of really awesome stuff there. There's some children's resources. There's a story about a spider who spreads love and joy to the world by helping the Easter Bunny spread Easter eggs. So there's lots of free stuff on there, lots of really good stuff. Have a look at scorpions.co.za. If anyone has any questions or comments or interested in any of the books or presentations, you can email me at info@jonathanleeming.com, and that email address is on the website. So scorpions.co.za.
Jonathan, thank you so much. And yeah, for sharing with us your walk and for giving us your time. We know you're very busy as an author, as you're speaking, you're running courses, all sorts of things. So thank you once again. And we're going to have you back because we want to talk about the scorpions. So that folks didn't know, there are actually scorpions in KwaZulu-Natal, and quite a few of them. So we're going to find out all about them in a few weeks, because you might be in the garden and the next thing you know, hello, how's it? What's that? Oh, I don't know, but you're going to find out. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for being with us. And folks, I want to now just read a few messages that have come in. So Sister Rashida, she actually says, salams. She wants to wish her niece Faria a very happy birthday today. May Allah bless and protect her today and always. Ameen. And this comes from all of her cousins. Too many to mention, of course. It's cousins by the dozens, folks. And all her aunts, her mum, her dad, and her brother. Alhamdulillah. So happy birthday to you. Sister Saida says the name of the surah in the Quran. Aha! She's got it. Is Ankabut, the spider. Yes. Brother Frank, and his jokes. What did the spider wife say to the spider husband when he tried to explain coming home late? You're spinning me a yarn here. Spinning a web. Folks, I find this absolutely fascinating. And from a personal perspective, I used to have tarantulas. And I want you to do yourself a favor this week. I want you to go online and I want you to look at spider pictures. I want you to look at golden knee tarantulas and pink tarantulas. And I want you to look at all these different, the golden orb web spiders, and look at the pictures. More importantly, show your children, not just so that you know how to recognize them, but because the world of spiders is actually quite beautiful. And sometimes we can be so overrun by the fear that we stop seeing the beauty. Now, there is one thing that I have to tell you about, and I think we need to take that ad break, don't we? Yes, we need to take a very quick ad break, but when we come back, I want to tell you what to do for the mosquitoes. And don't think it's a spider what bit you. It's probably a mosquito at this time of the year. So stay with us till we get back from that ad break, and we'll speak to you on the other side.
We guaranteed to beat any advertised price or written quote. Yes, you heard right.
So head down to Simplex Radio and get the best deals in town.
Grab a Midea 20-liter microwave for just $5.99.
A Defy oven and hob combo at $44.99.
A Samsung 19 kg top loader for $74.99.
Or a stylish Smeg kettle or toaster for $23.99 each.
Hurry, offers valid until January 31st. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Come get our bitches best for less at Checkers Cowie Park and Westwood Mall. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like half lamb, just $119.99 per kg. Lamb curry pieces, just $129.99 per kilo. Lean beef mince, just $119.99 per kg. And leg of lamb, just $179.99 per kilo. Deals valid until Sunday, February 1st, only at Checkers Cowie Park and Westwood Mall. Butchery, bakery, and deli. Certified halal by the NIHT.
Ikra Wafham. Your Quranic program brings to you an opportunity for the next few weeks to understand our short surahs that are read in our daily salahs. Our respected ulama will recite, translate, and give us an explanation. Don't miss this opportunity, coming through Radio Al Ansar, Sundays at 8 p.m. and repeated on Fridays at 10 p.m. Radio Al Ansar, keeping us informed and educated.
Zakah is more than just charity. It is a duty, a trust, and a means to uplift those in need. For over 40 years, Islamic Relief has only distributed zakah through policies that comply with Sharia guidelines, endorsed by qualified scholars, making sure it only reaches those who are eligible. Give with Islamic Relief, where your zakah is our amana.
اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم حرر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المرابطين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم شد أزرهم وسدد رميهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم الطف بإخواننا في كل مكان يذكر فيه اسمك يا أرحم الراحمين. استنصروك يا الله فانصرهم. اللهم ارحم الضعفاء والفقراء والمساكين والأيتام والنازحين والمشردين والأسرى يا أرحم الراحمين.
Radio Al Ansar, Durban, 90.4 FM. Peter Maritzburg, 105.6 FM.
Get ready for Green Thumbs Up, the gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. Welcome back to Green Thumbs Up. Yes, we are here. We are here, folks, every Sunday, 9 to 10 a.m. And you can find us on 90.4 FM in Durban, 105.6 in Pietermaritzburg. We audio stream everywhere. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, etc. Radio Al Ansar. And on a Sunday, with me, you get my pre-radio show, the show, and post show on my TikTok, which is Life Coach Rabia. So I want to tell you this morning that we just spoke about spiders, and here's something we didn't say is spiders. What do they eat in your garden? They eat aphids. They eat flies, mosquitoes, beetles, and moths. I cannot tell you how many people will send me photographs of aphids or cabbage fleas, they say. And listen, just get yourself some spiders. Move them into the vegetable patch. Let the spiders do the work for you. Then you don't have such a problem with spraying. What we are spraying a lot nowadays as well is mozzie spray. Folks, mozzies are driving me up the wall. I don't know about you, but they actually hibernate if it's lower than 10 degrees. I didn't know that. So they do hibernate, but mosquitoes can live for 3 weeks in your house and you don't even know about it. They hide behind your curtains. They hide behind stuff. They kind of sleep there, and then the women come out and bite you. Yes, it's only the females that actually bite you. Mosquitoes, not spiders, mosquitoes are among the world's deadliest creatures with over 3,700 species. They remember you. Yes, they remember you by your smell. They do. That itch that you get, it's a response to the coagulant that they put, or anticoagulant that they put into your blood so that they can suck it up. They have super speed wings. Listen to that. Mosquitoes have super speed 300 to 600 times a second. They slap those wings, and yet they fly very slow. Mosquitoes are attracted to cheese, especially cheese that smells like stinky feet, and the activity of mosquitoes increases 500% on a full moon. Folks, the 1st of February, today, is a full moon. Expect the mosquitoes to be out in their thousands. It's called full moon fever. The mosquitoes come out like mad. If you are blood type O, sorry for you, because you are the favorite sweet spot for mosquitoes, and they can eat up to 3 times the body weight. A female will come back and feed as many times as it takes. Okay, they are 210 million years older than most dinosaurs. 210 million years old. And that is so much older than most dinosaurs. And guess what? The thing about mosquitoes, they have synchronized wing romance. When a girly mozzie and a daddy mozzie love each other very, very much, then they smack their wings at the same time together. Did you know that about mosquitoes? But we want to get rid of them. So here's a spray. Get out your good old trusty witch hazel that I always tell you about. It's an alternative to alcohol. Witch hazel is vegan. It's wonderful stuff. 100 mils of it. And then you're going to put into that 5 drops eucalyptus oil. Get the lemon eucalyptus. That's the stuff they can't stand. The lemon eucalyptus. Put in 3 drops of peppermint spray, essential oil, and put in 5 drops of tea tree essential oil. In fact, you know what? Make it easy to remember. Do 10 lemon eucalyptus, 5 peppermint, and 5 tea tree. Mix that all together and you have a spray, a mozzie spray for your rooms that keeps them away. They run away. They really do not like it. If you want to put this onto your body, onto your skin, then make sure that to that witch hazel, you're adding 1 teaspoon of olive oil. Why? Because it's going to act like a base for your essential oils. It's going to moisturize your skin, and it's going to make sure that those essential oils don't burn your screen. In your house, burn coffee grounds. Take those little hookah coals, light them and put some coffee grounds on there. That'll get rid of the mosquito spit spot in a moment. And in your gardens, if you don't want mosquitoes or near your house, plant 3 things: basil, marigolds, or rosemary. Those are the things that we have for you today. It has been a creepy crawly day. I hope you've enjoyed the show with me. I've thoroughly enjoyed being here with you, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you again next week. Next week, we're doing a February gardening roundup with Dr. Carrie Goodwin, who joins us once a month. So she joined us at the start of January. She'll be with us for a fully dedicated gardening show. So bring in your questions, send them in for gardening. And until then, stay safe from the mozzie bites and love them spiders just a little, won't you? It's a beautiful day to be happy. I'll see you next week. From myself, from Zach, Sibunisu, who's home, Kelly Ramzani, and the entire team here at Radio Al Ansari, wish you a beautiful Sunday. We'll see you next week, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Teaching you something new every day. Radio Al Ansar. Eid is coming and every child dreams of dressing up.
But sadly, many little ones might not.
Join me, Razia Rangrage,
And me, Fatima Karim,
as we race to clothe